What's up, guys? Kelsey, Charles Flanagan, and Megan Murray here. And you are listening to Girls Talking Boys in partnership with us, the one and only OG Girls Who Talk Boys. Uh, Hello. We're back after a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, I mean, someone was a little busy with something, I don't know, kind of life altering. So it took us
Yeah,
a minute, but
yeah.
here we are.
I decided to make two humans. Yeah. And bring them into the world. So that was a thing that we did and happened. I also moved into a new house, and it was just like, it's anyone who knows me knows that this is like very typical Kelsey, but I think I even like surprised myself, and like God bless my husband for being the most angelic, amazing man on the planet and holding it down, because honestly, the level of crazy and chaos that has been like the last, dare I even just say, like year and a half has actually
Yeah, yeah. She like on the low, like moved to another state
yeah,
too. So that was
yeah,
like a whole situation, and
yeah,
then she just goes and gets pregnant, gets
yeah,
married,
yeah.
has the
Like
babies.
in the last like year and a half, or a little over a year and a half, I have like moved to Tennessee, and then I got married, had twins, um bought and sold a house. Like, whoa.
Our joke is that she likes to fit 4 years into one at a time. So I'm really afraid about 2025.
I know, I know. I'm like, I don't know what else we could do. Like, honestly though,
We'll find
it's
something, I'm
I
sure.
yeah, and like the fact that like I had twins too was just super par for the course as well. Like obviously I like always wanted to have kids, and my dad's an identical twin, which isn't hereditary, but like, I've always like wanted twins. Like you kind of get the twin bug in your family, and my grandmother on my mom's side is a twin too, and so like that is hereditary. So I've always like joked about having twins, and like because I lead this chaotic like crazy life, like it isn't like surprising that I had twins, but like when it happened, I was shocked.
What you're saying is the chaos that is
Oh.
Kelsey Charles Flanagan is in the DNA.
Yeah, it's in the DNA. And let
She
me
can't
tell
help
you, I've done a lot of chaotic things in my life. This might be the hardest thing I've ever done, just because
it.
two, like Ian and I and my husband, like we joke, like we're like, honestly, I don't even respectfully, I don't feel bad for people that have just one kid. Like, I'm like, everyone who talks about like getting sleep deprived and everything when they just have one kid, I'm like, yes, you will be. But like, try that with two. Cause like, you just, whatever you do with one kid, you have to turn around and do with the other. And they're obviously just like waiting to be fed, waiting to be changed. And they'll just go like berserk if you don't do it like at the same time. And it's wild, folks. Like, let me tell you, like getting on this podcast right now, bringing this back is a miracle in itself. God bless Megan Murray for being an angel and having patience of a saint, because even like getting up the stairs to do this today was like a feat in itself. Like it's wild. It's wild in these streets, but we love it. We're excited.
We're really here for Kelsey's sanity at this point. So
Yeah, really, you guys are a part of this, so I can just, actually talk to human adults. That's one of the things that's important to me. Um Plus I just also like miss talking Cowboys. We keep, and I'm so sorry you guys, like honestly, I should have replied, like we've talked about doing this, like we knew like we were going to bring this back. We just kind of had to figure out when. So we're super pumped to be back. Just so you guys know, we are going to be doing this like once a week. We're trying to target Wednesdays. That's what we're looking at right now. Who knows if that will change, but listen, like the New Heights podcast drops on Wednesday. Your other favorite podcast, Girls Talking Boys, drops on Wednesdays. Like we just felt like it was a good day. We could talk about what happened previously, what's happening coming up. But we're gonna move over to YouTube, because one thing we didn't do a ton, like we talked about it again, and hope like, but we are going to just do this on YouTube. But we also probably try to do the audio on Spotify, like if time, is is playing nice with me, and trying to figure out how to do that on the logistics side. So we'll get it.
essentially, buckle up because
Really,
we're
truly,
all
like
doing this together.
we are, but we just like had to come back because we missed you guys, and it's time to talk some Cowboys. And what better time to bring it back than like right before preseason? We have things to discuss.
It's heating up, baby.
It's heating up, but we figured we'd probably do like a bit of a recap. So now that we got the recap of my life out of the way, Meg, what have you been doing? Have you had twins?
The thing about what I'm doing is it's exactly the same as before. Um, in fact, like I stayed up till 5 a.m. for absolutely no reason. I texted Kelsey with all the audacity in my body, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you do this.
Honestly, you should have texted me like while you were staying up because I would have been up. Like that's the thing.
I figured you might have, but then I was like, well, I still want to go to sleep. So I went to bed at 5.
I'm like yawning because I'm in perpetual like kind of sleep deprived mode, but I'm doing pretty well. Like Ian and I have kind of figured out a good schedule that we split, but like it's like the hours that we operate now, both of us, is like full feral. Like he stays up until like 3 in the morning, and then I start at like 3 in the morning and on. And so it's just like this like crazy inhuman schedule that our beautiful little tyrannical children have made us adhere to for the sake of their survival.
You can call them the feral Flanagans over there.
We are all the feral Flanagans right now.
I am quite literally just couldn't be more opposite. The most
I love
exciting
that for
thing I've
you.
done is like just go on several trips in which I consumed copious amounts of alcohol with my friends. I don't know.
Honestly,
Some
that
things
is
change, some things stay the same.
but you have gone on amazing trips, I will say. Like I'm trying to remove jealous from my terminology, but I have been excited for you and been living
I
vicariously
mean, one
through
of
it.
my trips was to see you. So
It's
if you
true.
think about it,
Megan actually flew out to Nashville and single-handedly was like my caretaker for like a week because
personally, she refuses to take help anyway. So it was more of an assistant type role.
but my doctor was like, um, you probably shouldn't be alone at this point in your pregnancy. And obviously, Ian has to do work and travels for work occasionally. And he had this like incredible like headlining gig over in Europe. And we were like, you obviously have to make that happen. But I'm over here like, bumbling pregnant. And so, we had the platoons, the committee come in, God Fairy Megan flew in and helped hold down
We
the
had some
fort.
Bridgerton to watch, you know.
We did.
We got it done. We had some ice cream.
Yeah.
I petted all the animals, so
Yeah. It
it was
was great.
success all around.
It honestly was. It honestly was. Like it was necessary and important, and we did the things. Now I need to return the favor. I think I'm gonna come because like kind of the plan. So not that you guys care that much, but like ideally I'm kind of splitting time in Texas, but obviously it's not really happening. But like I'm going back to Texas frequently because work is there. And obviously, my friends are there too. But when I come back from maternity leave, I'm going to try to return the favor and come back to Texas for like a whole hot minute and be there for maybe like a week or two and like bring the kids. We can go to like a game. Like maybe we could do like baby's first Cowboys game. Like how young is too young for a Cowboys game? They do have their little
I've seen
headphones.
infants there before. Yeah, you just
Yeah.
get the headphones.
Maybe we'll get them into that sweet life. I'll try and like guilt trip someone and be like, I have children.
You
You
can
have
strap one
to.
of them to me for help. Just walk around.
Well,
Not mine.
we watched Bridgerton, but then also one of the hottest things on Netflix this summer, and who would have thought, was the DCC. Uh I I knew it was coming because I know you guys know I talk about this. Like I work for Lucchese, and they're my 9 to 5 job. So this is obviously separate. So keep my opinions separate, everyone, please and thank you. But one of my roles is I lead up a lot of their sports marketing. And so I actually help lead the relationship with the Cowboys. So like we knew that was coming. Like the boots, we make the boots for the DCC and the cheerleaders. Like we knew Netflix was coming in. And they've always had the show like CMT. So it's like having a show around the Cowboys has always been a thing. But I don't know if anyone, but I definitely didn't expect it to like pop off the way it did. Like it's like on like e-news on my Instagram feed, like Kelly Glass, like and like people are like creating a meme out of her, like based off like the Paris Olympics, like their
The
intro.
cha-cha.
Yes, the opening ceremonies. And I was like, whoa, like we're making this like I knew Cowboys were part of the culture, but like they really became a part of the culture with that series. I don't know. I I'm happy for them, but I had none clues.
I hope they continue to do it.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel like overall the response is positive,
yeah.
but there were some,
Oh yeah.
negative points in there that I'm like, we'll see if they like maybe a few of the people that showed up won't show up again. They'll just focus more on, the girls trying out. Who knows? But it
Yeah.
was really cool to see a lot of the background and get more of the details on what they go through. Like they're breaking their hips
Who
to do.
knew? I
Not
mean,
me.
like I
I knew it
knew
was
that
hard, but
yes, 100%. But like the fact that they're like talking about like, you know, what they this is Joey's joining us. You guys are gonna get the full show.
it's not a
Um,
random plant. It is a cattail.
yes, this is quite actually my child. My fur child. Hello.
He's gonna get on the
Um,
mic now.
yeah, he really is. He's just over here like stepping on the computer and everything. Anyways, I knew like it was a sport. I knew it was really hard and insane, but like hearing about some of the after effects, I was like, excuse me? Like had no clue.
The fact that some of them can even do 5 years, like, and it's not even they have to stop after five, it's just like genuinely your body is like can only take so much.
Yeah.
But like the fact that
Bye
some
bye,
of them
Joey.
actually make it to five is crazy. Like
No,
even two, it's almost like a true, if you think about it, like actual football players, like a normal average,
yeah.
not like a star, whatever, NFL player, their like career is typically what, 3 to 5
Yeah, that's
ish.
like the average.
Yeah, so that's kind of just like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders because they're quite literally breaking their bodies.
No, yeah, and then, they also all of them, like, have something else going on, whether they're a student or they have a job, and so I'm like, at least as an athlete, you are quite literally, like, this is what you do
That
full
is your
time,
job.
and then
Yeah.
you rehab and you have all these resources, and I know, like, the cheerleaders have resources and everything, but it's just as someone who thought they were close to the action and thought they had, like, a decent understanding, I like, bow down, like, I had no idea, like, good good grief. And then I also have watched Thunderstruck so many times, like, so many times, I cannot tell you, like, in person, on the TV, like, wherever, I know you have too, and I just, like, having them, like, go through the choreography with you and then like, realizing really what it takes to, like, jump into that split, I was like, "That's terrifying." And then I think I saw they went up to, like, New York and, like, did it on, like, concrete, and I was like, I just God bless.
Quite literally, just earlier this afternoon, I went to Pilates and my instructor was making fun of me. We have a good relationship. This was not like a random instructor, but she was like, I had to do a lunge and like shoulder press at the same time, and I couldn't do it. I was like, I'm way too uncoordinated for this. And the fact that these girls can do all of that and like remember it and like fall on concrete and do the
Yeah,
splits, like, what on earth?
yeah,
And I'm just gonna, throw it out there. Pay them more.
yeah,
Just a thought. I think that was the one of the like negative highlights that people But you know
Like,
what? If more people have their eyes on it, maybe that changes and, hopefully they get something from that Netflix contract too.
I have no idea how that's structured, but like, yeah.
Well, their followers are going up, so at least they'll have, like, brand deals and stuff too if you think about it, but
I mean, again, like that's what it was like, again, just so crazy to me because they all of the DCC, they typically change their Instagram handle over to like DCC Kelsey, right? Or whatever. And, that becomes like your name. And then you retire that account whenever you leave. And it feels like that's, like there's a lot of people that have their own followings now. And it's very apparent that it was impacted by the show. So, um, it's wild. I also loved seeing my girl JC. JC's amazing, and I just think I mean, I think the world of her. Like, she was on the team when I worked for the team, and she's just like as kind and amazing as she seems on TV. Like, she is that in real life. Like, everything good deserves to happen to her. So, like, I loved seeing that. And also just some fun facts for all of you guys. Uh, the boots, obviously, again, speaking, I know I have some insight into this, but speaking like off the record, not as an official capacity, but it was cool to like, see what they did to bring that to life too. Like, because, my team is actually the ones going in and doing the fittings and like actually going and manufacturing them or placing the order to manufacture. Like, my team's not actually building them, but we have these amazing artisans out in El Paso, making them as well. But it's cool because, you know, I will say that a lot of people, I've had talked with other teams before I went on maternity leave, like other, pro teams that wanted to put their cheerleaders in our boots. And I know it was a lot because of the show. And so like the demand is there, but it's like these boots we made specifically for the DCC, and it's like because they're iconic. And so it's kind of cool to like, be a part of like that moment. But um I say all that because, obviously now there's demand. We've had to make some more boots. So if you are loving those white boots, you just might be able to get your hands on a pair come this month. So little birdie insider for you guys there too.
oof. Yeah, no, those are boots that I'm like, is it crazy to just buy them to go to Cowboys games?
They're so cute. Yeah,
They are
and like,
cute.
yeah.
I've always thought they were cute.
Yeah, yeah, like, they're actually, like, functional too, and they're really freaking comfortable. The ones that we sell versus the ones that the DCC wear, like, the DCC have ones that have a rubber sole that, literally doesn't have a metal shank in it, so, like, when I say metal shank, like, with where, like, the sole of your shoe is, to kind of keep that structure, but obviously the girls have to be doing a lot of dancing and, like, they have to have mobility in their toes, which, you don't normally have to have in your everyday, like walking around, like you want some structure. And so we removed that metal shank for these boots for them. So there's like slight differences in the ones that you would buy versus the ones that like they wear. But that's kind of the same like with the Cowboys, their sideline gear. Like the sideline gear that, Tony Romo and like Dak were wearing was always like slightly different than the ones that you'd buy from the merch center because it was the same like design, but it wasn't like quite the exact same. It was just, in what's the word I'm looking for? Inspired by, if you will.
I still think they need to like make more of a thing out of that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like doing certain merch drops and like having the guys wear them because that would like not that I need to make this team more money than they already make. It's like some of those because that's how like the True Brand hats popped
Yeah.
off so much is because Ben started giving them to the guys and Dak wore one and it was like off to the races from there. So
Dude, I saw some interview with him and I didn't get to listen to it, but like somewhere they were saying that he was making like more money from that than he did from the NFL. And I'm like,
yeah,
I know the league minimums, and that's impressive, my guy. More power
oh,
to
yeah.
him.
Yeah, I mean, and he was saying that his dad almost talked him out of like
Yeah.
investing in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
And
smart, pretty smart man.
selfishly, I'm happy that he's making a lot of money because then he was able to take care of our girl Brittany and buy her a really beautiful ring and seal the deal there because we love our girl Bryn and she deserves the best.
I
The
mean,
end.
it seems to me that Ben DiNucci's pretty good at making investments, but
And
I'm
of
enough.
course, he goes like full social media genius, and his caption for their announcement was like easiest knee I've ever taken. And I was like, this A+ content. This is perfect. Everything, frame it, love it. Like double
Yeah,
like,
I
oops,
think
hitting
the
the mic.
people need more Ben DiNucci content still.
I agree. Like we're not done with him yet. We're just
We never stopped, honestly.
maybe he could just come and be like a Dallas like mascot. Like, is that what he's gonna evolve into? I think maybe so.
Him and Posty just like travel the states.
Yeah, Post Malone for sure.
Oh yeah. He's like his obviously he wears the True Brand hats everywhere too, but like now he's like in music videos with Morgan Wallen and stuff with it. I'm like
I know.
everywhere. These hats are everywhere.
Dude, seriously, like he's blowing up and he's all over like Nashville too. Like it's
Oh yeah.
crazy. The
Yeah, he's
crossovers
doing a whole
are,
like country album. I'm excited.
yeah. I mean, not only that, like he went like full send and came into Nashville and was like, give me your best people. Like only Post
Hank
Malone
Williams
could.
Jr., Dolly Parton, Tim
Like,
McGraw.
who does that?
Who
No,
are
I
you?
can answer that for you. The only person who could do that is like you and Beyonce, like straight up. Like you, Beyonce, Taylor Swift. Like everyone else, like, no, forget it.
Yeah.
Like
Chris Stapleton too. That's crazy.
as someone who works or has done some stuff with him, like it's like he's very selective and rightfully so about
Yeah.
the work he does. So it's like again, like he went with the heavyweights and he pulled.
I have absolutely like no way of knowing this for sure, but I just feel like he just calls people up.
Yeah. I actually I do
What's the
have a
worst
way of
thing
knowing
they can
that.
do? Say no?
I do have like a slight way of knowing that. I think you might be right because like long story short, not to be like give a lame flex, but to give a lame flex, we did a boot collection with Stapleton, and I sent the boots from Stapleton's collection over to Post. Like I know his dad from working at the Cowboys. Like he
Big
and Chris,
Rich.
yeah, I think like loosely knew each other before. And then like his dad messaged me and was like, he's like Chris and Post are talking like blah blah blah. Like he loves the boots. And I was just like, God, like casually just like calling each other up being like, bro, nice boots, do you want to like do a song? Like not that that's how it went down, but it could have.
Kelsey's saying that's why he's on the record.
So
So
basically what I'm trying to tell you guys is you're welcome.
I hope it's your favorite song.
Because it's inspired by actions of me. Fact
So
check. False.
I mean, I don't think that's completely far-fetched there, but that's a message to everybody. Like, why don't you just call them up? What's the worst thing they can do? Say no?
Truly, shoot your shot is what we're trying
That's
to
pretty
say.
much what Jerry did trying to get CD to go to training camp. He's like,
Um,
will you please come? And he's like, no.
I I actually do want to talk about that because I know we're doing a lot of catch ups right now, and
Yeah.
we'll dive into the football things. Obviously lots of stuff happened but also didn't happen in the off season. You lost a significant number of players. You really didn't do much to do anything at all in free agency. The draft, depending on who you are, was hit or miss. They didn't draft a running back. I think a lot of people were shocked by that. Then they stunned the world, or at least, fans, if you will, maybe not the reporters who are on the beat, but they brought back Zeke Elliott. He's a name. He's probably not going to be the same guy, most likely not the same guy who you knew here previously, wearing a different number altogether, too. But you got some contracts to lock up, too, to make sure that you do have the right players on the field, namely two really important ones, Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. CD still has not come to camp. But wait, I need to hear the story about how he like straight up, did he really call him? Are you being serious or are you just
No, I
joking?
was
I
joking.
was like, why did I miss that? I was like, really?
I mean, technically his like has been talking to his agent.
Yeah.
He's like, please come to training camp, Z.
Yeah.
I beg. And then he was like, no.
I mean,
Essentially, that's how the negotiations are going. Like, show me the money or I'm not coming. And he
yeah,
stood on business and he didn't go. Micah is there, but there's a lot of contracts up in the ether
ether.
to take care of.
Jinx. Wow, we both go with ether. That's the word we had. Wow, good. That's the connection is
We're
there.
back, baby.
We are so back. Um, no, but for real, if you think about it, like it is a checklist of things that have to get done. And I know that, I don't believe that Dak Prescott's not going to be a Dallas Cowboy, but I do feel like, I look at those three contracts and I'm like, um, we didn't really put ourselves in a position with our cap to be able to do a lot of really great work uh to secure some of our best guys. And even like I was listening to one of I think it was a couple of months ago, Bobby Bell was talking about this and he was like, even with like the Zeke Elliott thing, he now is, and I'm not sure if they've actually done anything to change this yet or not. I need to like kind of look into it a little bit more. The cap is, candidly not my favorite area to go line item out.
He says
Um,
market value, not cap. That's all
yeah,
I care about.
but like the way we structured it is when we let him go, he took a 6 million cap hit. We're paying for that by just letting him go. And then he goes and is gone for the year. And then we bring him back and we're paying him another 3 million. So now he counts 9 million against our cap. And it's like we didn't even like we could have been a little more creative with that and packaged that better either on the departure if we thought that he, could have been someone that maybe we would have revisited, or at least like on the reintroduction into the team where it's like, hey man, like, hey, maybe we could like figure this out a little more creatively so that this isn't absolutely like rail us as we're trying to secure your bestie over here. And I don't know, like it's just like things like that where I'm like, it's not full New Orleans Saints, but it gives, like, Saints energy when you just, like, scratch your head and you're just like, "What the F?" Like, "What the F? Why?"
Wow. That was shady.
I don't know, like,
I appreciated it.
I'm not wanted to talk smack about budgets because it's not really my area of expertise either. I definitely have room for improvement, but,
Yeah, just asked her husband about the boxes that show up every other day.
I'm already best friends, like, I'm best friends with Amazon, like, straight up, they already know me, like, our address is unlisted here, but they can find us because of me. So,
Like, I gave them instructions. I've shook all their hands.
you're
I
welcome.
know their like kids' names. Like,
My shopping is a public service, is what I'm trying to say,
geez,
essentially.
it's stimulating the economy. Okay.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, I mean, for me, I think that I don't have a ton of like I think this team feels like there's still some questions in the air, and I feel like it doesn't feel like there's a ton of like excitement around this year. It feels like it's a lot of like rebuilding, a lot of like, okay, we need to figure out who we're locking down and how we're locking them down, like namely mainly how. And then also like getting creative with guys that have position flex so we can seed in, some of the guys we drafted, some of the guys that, we've had for a minute and we've picked up, like, so we can kind of jerry rig this thing together and like put something on the field. Like, that's an exaggeration, but it kind of gives those vibes at times, like a little bit, I have to say.
Yeah, I need your thoughts on the lack of attendance at training camp. As someone who
Used to run training
has
camp.
run training camp before.
Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that I used to run training camp? Um, dude, that's a thing. And I will say, I actually haven't asked anyone about that. Like, my friends that now have taken over from me, and I probably should have, but it is crazy. And I will say, like, you could typically get, I don't know, like 3,000 people on like a weekday or something of that nature, and then you can go all the way up to like 8 to 12 like on the blue and white scrimmage, or even on a Saturday, Sunday. And I hope I'm not totally blowing these numbers out of the water because it's been like 10 years since I've done this, but needless to say, like it's significantly different when you look at the bleachers and they're totally empty.
Well, yeah, especially like the build outs that they've done and the branding they've done and brought
Yeah.
in, and like all the different like little bars or like little
Yeah.
extra stuff that they have for fans to do there. They did all that stuff, and it has gone well the last several years.
Yeah.
But and you know what? I haven't checked the numbers recently, but I just know those first few days were rough.
Yeah, and, like, that's surprising because, really truly, like, people and I haven't been in training camp in a hot minute, but when I was there, we would have to, like, work with the city and create, like, road maps for people to actually line up and be able to sit in this line, and then we work with the police and have them, like, block off a lane so that everyone, because people would be in line to park in the parking lot before even the lots opened, and then we'd have to arrange for overflow parking, like, that was all, and, like, you'd bus people in from, like, the local high schools because they would park out there, like, that's all a thing, and I guarantee you they're still doing that now, and so to
No,
see, like
they were,
yeah,
because I think my recommendation was always like, I don't know where you're staying around the area. If you are, take an Uber.
yeah, like, always,
So much
always take
easier.
yeah, take an Uber for sure, but it is, I would have to say, like, love my people that are running that, but, like, that's alarming, and I think it's a reflection, like, very truly, like, of and I think you've heard Jerry speak a little bit of it too and actually address it head on, of people just being tired of hearing the same things over and over again. Like, "Oh, you're all in and you're gonna do absolutely nothing." Like, how if that's what your all in looks like, I have some thoughts. Like,
I think
I
that might have been like the straw that broke the camel's back,
yeah,
honestly,
yeah, like, it's
because
insulting.
everyone's always sick of them after like a rough performance in the playoffs
Yeah.
and the off season. But to go I think when he said that, honestly, people were like, "Oh yeah, bet."
Well, we'll show you what your equivalent of all in is, like, match that energy, like, that's, like, what they're saying,
Yeah, I'm gonna go all out. You bring 90%, I'll bring 10. How about that?
but then they also, like, had the audacity to hit them with, like, the renewal of season tickets line, and I was like, bro, like, don't do that. Like, why would you do that? Like, what are
I
you
think
doing?"
it's
Like
always funny when, especially, they've always been these like really like masterful business PR guys, and they've had people in the room to help them with
yeah,
that and whatnot. I don't know if it is the rise of social media where you can clip something and play it indefinitely until the day you die, but
yeah,
like I don't think they're prepared for that, and they need to, re-strategize,
yeah.
because quite literally everything you say, run it back.
You're like, "He went off the script, off the script,
And that's
alert."
the problem because he always goes off the script. But now
Yeah,
the script is leaked.
yeah,
Everyone's reading it. They'll be like, "Oh, remember that one time like 2 years ago at 2 o'clock PM on this day in this month when you said this?" Because I
yeah.
do. And you're like, crap.
I mean, honestly, though, like, I also am not surprised by that stat at all because the Cowboys have been sold out of season tickets for like, or like a majority of their season ticket offering. How's that? Again, as someone who doesn't work there anymore, I don't know the facts like, verbatim, but who they don't have tickets like other teams do in season tickets nonetheless. And so it doesn't surprise me that they have this like high renewal rate because it's in demand. Like you can turn around and resell your tickets. Like again, like Meg, you're a season ticket holder and you're probably one of the few that doesn't sell your tickets to other fans unless
It is very rare.
yeah, I was like,
My
I think
dad
you're
picks one game where he's
yeah.
like, these fans will pay a lot of money to
Yes.
see.
He's like, "Listen, I'm sorry."
He's like, I just made it enough for the season, so here we go.
Yeah, like I
Otherwise, it's
understand that.
Cowboys fans only.
Yeah,
But
but
no, that is a consideration to be made for sure. Like you can truly, even if you do go to like every game and you pick one and don't go to it and you sell them, like you can really make at least half of your entire package back
yeah.
from selling one game.
But also, like, how many of those are brokers too? Like, let's be honest. Like,
That'd be
not
a lot.
like that's a thing that happens. Like, ticket brokers like buy up season tickets, and again, I'm sure they have rules around that, about how many you can have and whatever as a broker. But I don't know. I just either way, that was like the most like off color thing that they could have said in regards to addressing this major concern that your rabid loyal fan base has. You're like, well, you guys keep buying the tickets, like, actually we're doing quite well. And it's like, well, you want to talk about all the concerts you're booking too, because you just had Morgan Wallen there too. Like, should we keep talking about like that side of the business that while it is working successfully for you, like you have a Netflix show, like we know it's working, like you're valuable, but like your scorned fan base who's sitting here being like, TikTok, like I'm going to die before I see another trophy, isn't quite fond of you leaning into the fact that like you're still making money. Like, no.
I think one of the big things, like if you look at the last 2 years, probably is when I've like really, really noticed it. Like people would always be like, this, it's a game for other fan bases that they want to travel to. So it is really hard to keep
Yeah.
it like 50-50 even sometimes, because sometimes they'll just come over and take over because they're like, well, I've always wanted to go to the Cowboys Stadium to see
Yeah.
my team play, so I'm going to come to this one.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years, honestly, like I really haven't felt that swarm come in, even during the playoffs. You could
How many
say,
games did
like,
you go to last year? Like, you go to a majority of them.
I think I only didn't go to two,
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, you go to a lot of them.
maybe one, because one of the games I went in someone else's seats. Regardless, I'm just on optics alone, like our fans have really shown up and like it's been like a home game when you go into that stadium. So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's feel like this year it has the risk of going back. And I don't blame anyone that doesn't want to go watch them in person right now.
Yeah. I mean, I
And
totally
that's where
get it.
they'll see it in that. That's going to be more frustrating for the actual team than for the front office, because they're still making their money off that ticket anyways.
Yeah.
But
It's true. It's true. And like, I really think that
it's
matters. Like,
I feel like they have to change.
yeah, it's true. I mean, and honestly, like that does matter. Again, like the environment. I mean, even like watching the Olympics, like these track people, like again, it's just like it's part of the sport. Like it's like the whole
Yeah.
entire like ambiance. Like that does matter, you guys. Like it does. Like I'm sorry. And I think
I
that
would say the last few years it's been better to go to games.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um so anyways, I'm sorry, I'm looking up the time for the Rams Cowboys game this weekend because Cowboys are favored, and had to double check and make sure that I was correct in saying that. Um but I did want to briefly touch on the games that are coming up because we'll dive into roster contracts, people that have stood out in training camp and all these other things, but I think that, one topic I wanted to mention briefly before, we wrapped up this first, catch up and high level dive back into Cowboys world is the concept of preseason. And I think that, so often in the past, we've talked a lot about how preseason, you just kick the tires. It doesn't really matter as much. And like, people are watching, but like it just is like whatever. It's kind of a dress rehearsal, like kind of not. But I would actually argue this year it matters more than most because of the nature of where the roster stands, because of the nature of, how I would say like the roles, with like the draft where we have guys that we brought in like first rounders that have position flex. And I think in the past, position flex has always been viewed as a positive, which it is. But again, there's a lot of specialization that goes into, a tackle versus, a center or a guard. And you have to be able to play that position accordingly. And, the footwork really matters, XYZ, all of that. And I think that this is going to be one of those games where you actually need to be paying close attention to how these guys fit into the positions that you've chosen to put them in. And I don't know, like, and I just think that that's going to be more impactful this year, and people will have more eyes on that than maybe they had in the future. And again, like running back by committee, like we don't know like how this is going to work. Like we're not new to having a running
Yeah.
back by committee situation, but it's like, how much is Zeke actually going to be an impact player? Like, he's probably not going to be your number one guy. It's probably going to be Rico, but like, what is that cadence going to look like? Are you going to have, three or four guys, or are you just going to stick with where we've had two in the past? Like, there's just so many different things, in my opinion, that need to be ironed out, that are important to iron out, versus just being like, hey, Mr. third, fourth string wide receiver, like, can you catch the ball and run the appropriate routes? Do you know the playbook? Like, it feels like we're actually trying to like fit puzzle pieces together to make sure they work, versus making sure that this individual player like knows the playbook.
Yeah, I mean, and we always have this like infusion of new blood. So that's all it's always important for them, training camp and preseason and all that good stuff. But honestly, like there's not those big vet guys. I mean, there's a few obviously, but like, there's a lot of new positions that are coming to the forefront where they're taking over someone who we lost that was there for like
O
years and
line
years and years.
all day.
So yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So like seeing that, like giving them more reps is going to be invaluable. So it's actually not important. It's actually more exciting to watch some
Yeah.
of these preseason games coming up just because of that fact, just to get them those reps and see how it could all shake out.
Yeah. And then even, it's on both sides of the ball too. Like, O-line is definitely someplace that I'm personally gonna be looking a lot at. I think understanding how, the running backs, like what they start to look like and how they're each going to individually function, not just as a unit, but like what's their specific role going to be. I would even argue and say, um, looking at like the linebackers, I think with the departure of Sam Williams with, his injury, and then Micah moving back over into your kind of uh linebacker off the ball type of guy. Like I just think that,
We
understanding
have a
that
whole
dynamic.
new defensive coordinator.
Oh yeah. I mean, Overshown's back. Like this is, technically like his first year. I just feel like you get Diggs back in the mix, like, which is great, but he's been here. But I just think that it's it's just super important this year compared to years past. I'm taking it seriously, is what I'm saying. Like, I'm gonna watch. Like, I'm going to watch intently. I'm going to be actually paying attention to the game. Whereas before I'd be like, oh, this is like whatever, like it's fun, who cares? Like, sit the quarterback. Like,
Sit back now.
yeah, yeah, take Dak off the field. The end is like really what I'm trying to say. Like, don't hurt my
Everyone get
starters.
off.
Yeah, like, but I'm I'm taking notes, and now I'm intrigued. And I can't be the only person who feels that way. And I don't know, again, like I just feel like it's also a representation of where expectations probably are this year. Like I don't feel like I've heard a ton more about, the hype around this team as I have in years past, like in the off season, where it's like everyone's thinking that the Cowboys could make a run at the Super Bowl. And I just don't think I'm hearing that as much this off season. Granted, again, I've been nursing children and keeping infants alive. So like who knows? I
I'll
could be
say
missing
you're
that.
completely right, but I
Yeah.
think it's mostly because it's overshadowed by like, is this team even going to stay together?
Yes.
So
And that's what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
having your
100%.
franchise quarterback talk about potentially not being your franchise quarterback and openly saying that and being like, "Hey, I want to be here, but like this is a business and if I have to leave, I'll leave." Like that is, I mean, that's new.
Yeah. I mean, because Dak's always been, Mr. Team Player. I'll take one on the chin. You can say whatever you want about me. But now he's like, listen up.
Yeah, he's like, I got a family and kids, and I'm like, I respect it. As someone who has a family and kids now too, like,
Yeah.
you know, I feel
Little
that
AJ is calling the shots now, okay? She said, give
absolutely.
my dad some money.
I will tell you, like, both Ian and I have gotten more cutthroat in our business dealings and like the way we talk about business after we've had kids. I'm like, oh yeah, like, now that's a non-negotiable.
You're like, I won't get out of bed for less than this much.
I'm like, absolutely not. Like, Ian's the same. He's like, no, I have kids. Like, sorry, that's a no. That's a
Like, if you want
hard
me to come
pass.
do a gig, it's gonna be you have to make it worth my while.
$1 billion is what we're trying to say. No,
Trying to
but
put these kids through college.
we got things to do and pay for, everyone. Speaking of which, I do have to go feed my children. I realize that they are going to be start screaming here soon. But we are so pumped to be back, and this is going to be our new home. You do need to make sure you are subscribed because I know that we went high level today. We'll dive into more of the X's and O's in the upcoming shows. We just want to catch up, say
We have a
hello.
couple friends that have been itching to come hang out too. So, you know,
Yes.
can
Yeah.
tease.
Yes. And then so this is your official welfare check for Girls Talking Boys. We are so back. And
We are so back.
we are so back. We are so back. And also, I do also want to tease that if we ever and I say if as in like a when we bring back some of our Girls Talking Boys merch, this is probably most likely going to be the first place that we tell you about it. Because I know you
True.
guys had fun with our Philly for Never line, and we just might have a couple things up our sleeves, which could be kind of fun for y'all. And we always appreciate your support and love your rabid fandom of Megan's brainchild that is Dallas Forever, Philly for Never. God bless you
Me
for
and
that.
Mimosas got together and came up with that one for you.
Honestly, I always say it, but we are going to save your brain. It's Jim, my friend.
Literally, recently, my friend went to London and was like, I need a caption for my Instagram. And I was like, give me a minute. And I sent her just like everything, every thought that came to my brain. It was like, just scroll twice. And I was like, pick something there.
That's what I'll text Megan. I'm like, so what Taylor Swift cover should Ian do? And she'll send me
I'm
like,
still waiting.
I know, I know. He could probably hear me right now. So this is the not so um what's the word I'm looking for? God, do I have mom brain? Can I not remember words?
Invisible string.
Yeah, we want to hear a cover from Taylor Swift by Ian Flanagan is what we're trying to say.
I've been dying.
Yeah, it's fine. Everything he touches is gold, so he'll make a great one. Um, all that to say, we're gonna be hanging out with you guys on YouTube. So our handle on YouTube is Girls Talking Boys. There's a G, so it's not talking, it's talking. We
Yeah.
don't care how you say it. I'm just letting you know how to spell it on the channels that we're gonna be on. You can also come just hang out with Meg and I on social media. We'll direct you here accordingly as well. And then I'll put this on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. I got to do all the whole like registration and all of that as well, which takes like 24 hours. So we'll probably just do the first show or two on the YouTube. But make sure you are subscribed so you get that notification when we do drop an episode. We do want to hang out with you guys. We might even do this live in the future. I'm looking into that too. Like technology. Who are we, right?
The
Like
options are endless.
I'm just saying, like, we could do
It'd be
lots of
fun.
things. I say this as a woman with a job and two infants, but you know what? We'll figure it out. Uh Also, like I said, coming out with us on social media, that's the main place to find us. I'm on Instagram at Hey Kelsey Charles. I'm also on Twitter at Kelsey_Charles, and Megan is
At Meg Murray with 4 R's on everything.
guys, we love you the most. We appreciate you coming back and hanging out with us again. One thing that isn't changing though is what we have to leave you with. And it's the most important thing, especially as we head into the season, as we revitalize this show. It's just ever important to remind you and leave you with these final parting words. And those are, Megan.
Might have been a few months, but it's always Dallas forever, Philly for never, baby.
Dust
Never.
off, dust them off. They sound amazing. Love you guys. We'll see you guys
Birds
next
aren't
time.
real.
Birds are simply not real. Bye.